much for joining us here today. This is a big day nationally and internationally. A great hero and veteran and struggle fighter, Winnie Mandela, has fallen today, and we've bid her farewell. And you're here in Durban and participant in this celebration that sees the recognition thereof, but also you spoke of many other heroes that were unspoken of or that are really recognized. Can you please tell us what this day means to you? You mentioned a lot of different elements that the day commemorates. Can you please take us through that, and also just a personal Winnie Mandela statement from you?
Well, the day is primarily a day on which we are sending Mum Winnie off after a great life, a wonderful display of the strength of the human spirit. Her life is an example of how the human spirit can be so indomitable. It's a tremendous lesson and message for young people in particular, that they can never feel defeated, that they should be inspired to do great things. It's somehow so wonderfully linked with Madiba's message about nothing is impossible until it's done. And when we trace her life from a young social worker and her outspokenness at that time, to her marriage to that other icon of the South African Revolution, Nelson Mandela, to be a young mother left alone to care for 2 children and fight the struggle that she fought, to be taken and banished to a small town in the Free State called Brandfort, to be put into solitary confinement for so long and come out and still have that unbroken spirit. It was really a remarkable story internationally. And as has been said there, her words, I don't think anybody can be untouched with the words when she said, "There's nothing the South African government has not done to me. There's no pain I have not known." Every South African should be touched by those words and understand what she went through. Winnie's, I know that another event we were told that she was the only one, even in those dark days, only one who would wear the ANC colors and not be arrested, because she really defied them. Of course, we hear now the horrific stories of the disinformation, falsehoods that were peddled about her. That doesn't mean she was perfect. No one is perfect, and think she would be the first to say so. But to take any human weakness and then portray a concentrated, dedicated campaign of disinformation to demonize, that must have created enormous trauma for her and her family.
My concern is as the ANC, as you stand here today representing the ANC. The ANC has really done nothing for Mama Winnie Mandela to actually recognize her publicly and celebrate her constantly and leave a mark that we as the public and women of South Africa feel that the government still has failed Mama Winnie Mandela, particularly the ANC. I feel as though the message of all her heroism and all that she stood for in the activism era during the apartheid was not celebrated enough by the ANC. And now that she's fallen today, we're all remembering all the pain that she went through, and we're reliving it with her and are saying goodbye. What do you feel as the MEC in your capacity in this province that can be done, perhaps a program or something that can be done to recognize these heroes such as Winnie Mandela, or a culture that can change within the ANC?
That is simply not true. The fact that as we speak now, I think Cyril Ramaphosa is concluding his address at the funeral as president. The fact that the ANC has put together that funeral that you see on TV is a culmination of our love and recognition for Mum Winnie.
Yeah. The question is when she was alive. When she was alive.
A second. I think almost everyone. We say that we do not recognize people enough during their lifetime. It's whether it's you burying your mother or your father or a hero of your community or hero of the province or hero of the nation. I think it's a perpetual refrain of ours, and I've buried many comrades, I can tell you that. So we acknowledge that weakness. But I think she was being a member of parliament on an ANC ticket for many years post-democracy. I can remember so many conferences where she would enter and the floor would unanimously rise to acclaim her and acknowledge her. That is the love that they had for her and that continues to have with. So I would disagree. But I think it's a time when, and the ANC is correctly doing it, the South African government is doing it, I think society as a whole is doing it, is crystallizing the key messages that her life stands out for. And of course the challenge will be for us now to act on those. My problem is with as somebody else said yesterday, nobody is perfect, and the only one who doesn't make mistakes is the one who sits and does nothing. But those who do, in the course of doing those things, will make mistakes. So I disagree with you. I think she's been recognized very strongly in the movement as a whole throughout her life and even in the democratic era. If you're saying recognition, unfortunately we have a culture, as I say, of not having events or not paying sufficient tributes. Of course, she's a recipient of awards on many fronts. So those who say that she hasn't been recognized, I think would not have been alive to many things that have been happening. Of course, there was this campaign against her, which is being exposed now, many people coming forward, and that must be processed and dealt with so that future generations understand it correctly. There will be many more books written about her. She herself has written books, which I think young people can learn from. So I have no qualms about the movement generally having not recognized her contribution, her tremendous contribution.
Okay. We're doing a stretch on radio as well as online. My Winnie Mandela. So in 5 words, tell me about your My Winnie Mandela.
An inspiration in the darkest of times. Indomitable spirit. People must understand how powerful the apartheid machinery was, how it could crush you. And here the entire might of the apartheid machinery was focused on her. They failed to destroy her. They failed to diminish her spirit by 1 inch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.